Combustion.
Whoa, 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 whoa. They running the game with my team making plays. Talking 80, my G's, one and jewels in this place. Surrounded by dogs, keep the quarterback safe. I'm the one with the plans, they gon' do what I say. The game is not over, we don't celebrate in the end zone. We don't got no time in the wait. H-Town run down, we don't premeditate. We just go and get to it, we got them on skates. If the game go into overtime, kicking the overdrive, we gon' be first at the finish line. Play looking full, but I finish mine. Can I get second? We gon' line up like it's dinner time. We put in work till we get us a ring. Super Bowl season, we running the scene. H-Town the home of the realest that breathe. Keep your face down when you talk to the king.
All right, but I put on my AD voice for a second. What up, everybody? This is Clayton alongside a couple of GOATs in the Houston sports space. This is H-Town Rundown on a beautiful Friday evening. Gentlemen, how are you guys doing?
Doing well, Clay. I appreciate the invite. Happy to be on with you guys.
Jules, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing good. It's a good Friday, man. Good weekend and a half, yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Some good football to watch this weekend.
Oh, absolutely. So, no, once again, look, great to be back, right? It's Friday, right? About to keep it pushing. Got Jayson Braddock here, got Jules here, the grumpy one, got myself, and everybody watching at home. Thank you so much, everybody there. Like, share, subscribe, H-Town Rundown. We do this every week. Let's just get into it, right? So, it's been a lot of chatter, a lot of stuff going on heading into Kansas City, right? Arrowhead Stadium. But before that, Braddock, I'm going to come to you first. Immediate, I guess not so immediate, but reactions to Texans, Colts. I'll ask you, like I asked Tristan earlier this week, do you really think the officials give the Texans that game, or what are we talking about here?
No, I got into zero conversations on it. It's not worth when a team lose, a fan base lose, they're going to be upset, especially when it's in their house. They're 6-0 at home. You go in there, you beat them, and it was closer than it should have been actually in that game. Also, I think the penalty wise, Texans were flagged for 9 penalties, Colts 4 penalties, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. But also, we all saw the deep pass interference. If you want to call illegal contact, I'm okay with it. You know, I mean, you're talking about a 5-yard penalty for automatic first down. But when the ball doesn't even sail out past the white of the out of bounds, but another 5 yards past that, I mean, that's insane. So, I mean, you have issues there. Yeah, there's obviously blown calls on both sides of the ball, but let the people talking about the penalties missed. Now, if you want to point out missed calls and everything, I'm all for it. But when you're saying a team lost because of it, it's like, okay, you got your loss, go on the next week. You know what I mean? What the Colts have lost 3 out of the last 4. At this point, realize what's going on with you. Your quarterback's dealing with a severe injury, and teams have figured out that the engine of not only your offense, but your entire team is Jonathan Taylor. And if you can stack that box, if you can limit him and take him away, game over. And their schedule. We spent all year. I remember the whole first 8 games of the season, everybody saying, are you buying the Colts now? And I said, no, I'll buy them if they can prove they can do it over that last 9 games. The last 9 games have started, and they lost 3 of those 4, and the last 5 isn't no cupcake walk. So, no, I'm not buying the Colts.
Absolutely. Jules, try to follow that up, sir. Media reactions. Go.
Well, you know, it's the same thing as, you know, it's your fan. They're in a win streak. They don't know what's going on. They really trying to figure out what happened, and it's a rivalry game. You know, that's our biggest rival is the Colts. They have the division. They want to be keep a lead, and you're gonna find any excuse besides, hey man, the better team won. Your quarterback is not as good as you think they are. You were real front runners on an easy schedule. I think they had a third place team because they came in third in the South Division. So their schedule was really, really easy at first. So they got a lot of wins, and they just really got really pumped, but they ain't really been challenged on a consistent basis. And it showed against a very good, tough team that we have in Texas.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And to you guys' points, look, a lot of people don't like objectivity, right, in the sports space. I've learned. Look, facts are facts, man. And look, the F word is kind of a naughty word. Speaking of fraud, right? I mentioned a long time ago, a lot of teams are on fraud watch, right? And I got dragged for days at a time. Oh, look, I done got kicked out of Broncos country. I actually tolerate, the for the shoe crowd. Like, I can speak to some of them, right? But AD said I kind of got the latter end of that. But I get it though, right? Like the Texans have gone back to back in the AFC South, and the Colts have been nipping at the heels, right? They've been competitive, they've been close, and they've been a quarterback away, you can argue, right? You see how the offense was at first, but Jules, to your point, and Brad, to your point, facts are facts. That schedule was as cupcake as you could be. We know that Jonathan Taylor was elite. We knew that. And I actually am thankful and admiring the fact that Daniel Jones has shown that independent of the Giants, he could do something. He can play quarterback at a certain level. Having said that, he's still Daniel Jones. They're still the Colts. Their schedule has still been their schedule. And the fact that they have dropped as many games as they have recently, and the fact that their final five is arguably the hardest five in the NFL, there's a perfectly reasonable argument to be made that they can fall completely out of the playoffs. That is not just Houston Texans fans saying that. That is the data. That's the stats. That's who you're facing. You got the Jaguars twice. You got us again. You got who else they got? Jaguars twice.
San Francisco and Seattle.
San
San Francisco and Seattle, right? That's horrible for a team with a quarterback with a fractured fibula and Sauce Gardner, who lasted all of 2.5 games, right? So, right.
And the Jets got Adonai Mitchell out of that deal too.
That's what I'm saying.
Awesome.
Right, exactly. So, yeah. Oh, Jules, you got something? You said?
Yeah, and the Ward ain't been playing well at all since he been back. So that whole secondary, the reason why they made the trade in the first place to boost their secondary because they thought Ward was going to be something.
Yeah.
Ward hasn't. He been smoked for the last 3-4 games himself.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So look, it is what it is. Look, football is a long season, right? Now that it's 17 games, it's even longer now. So look, we know this to be true. It's a war of attrition. And look, some teams, they get hot late and they're the ones who do the best. And the ones who pop early are the ones who, unfortunately, they fade. But anyway, but look, Jules did a great thing. He gave me like a slate of a lot of good topics to talk with going into the Chiefs game. We're talking about how CJ Stroud has grown throughout the season. We're talking about Kaylee's offense. We're talking about the Texans Final Five. But we're going to start like this. So, Braddock, I'm going to go to you. Heading into Kansas City, right? I posted this earlier where I mentioned about CJ Stroud, efficient CJ versus inefficient CJ, right? Going into Kansas City, I'll ask you this. What type of – 80s, shout us out. Braddock, I'll ask you this. What type of CJ Stroud do we need to see on a surface level going into Kansas City? Who do we need to see?
Yeah, I think we started seeing them. We started seeing them leading in before the injury, after the San Francisco game. And yeah, we can talk how San Francisco, almost like Baltimore, didn't have a pass rush, a lot of injuries on their defenses. So, but then to start that first quarter of the Denver game, who's, we're talking about weak schedules, Denver, Indianapolis, even New England, who for some reason gets a pass a lot of times, they might have the easiest schedule of all this year. So, I mean, I think that's why Texans fans are so excited. If you can come back from 0-3 and 3-5, get in there with this talented defense, anything's possible because you look at any of the playoff teams ahead of you. Who scares you? None of them scare you. You beat almost every one of them. You didn't face New England. You lost to Denver because you had Stroud for one quarter. Davis Mills came cold off of the bench after not playing all year and played mostly 3/4 of that game. Outside of that, you beat almost every team in front of you in the playoffs. There's absolutely nobody that scares you that you don't feel like you can go in there and beat this team and finally do something. Well, two things you've never done before. The Texans have never won the AFC South 3 years in a row. They've won the last two. Now they're back on path to push and possibly get it for the first time ever 3 years in a row. And if you make it into the playoffs for the first time ever, you could possibly make it to an AFC championship games. All of these things are first. And we're talking about first, even if they don't get to a Super Bowl or win a Super Bowl, this is something you say, all right, the future is bright and this isn't the Texans of team past. Now, to circle back to what you were saying, Clay, as far as the Kansas City game, we started seeing Stroud heat up before the injury, the concussion happened. Now, at the beginning of this game, most of the first quarter, I would say, there was a little bit of rust. There were some passes he left on the field, and he bailed back out of the pocket instead of stepping up, and he didn't really trust his protection, but this was his first time playing with this set of 5 offensive linemen. After that first quarter, you started seeing him like, man, I've got time in this pocket. I can let these plays really progress, get through my reads, stand comfortably. And if they start coming around the back of the hoop, I can step up in this pocket and still throw a dot. And that's what we saw. That's what I expect. There's no reason for me to believe that we won't continue to see that. The Texans have played a lot of talented defensive tackles this year. They caught a break with the Colts with DeForest Buckner not being out, but Jeffrey Simmons twice. Now you get Chris Jones. You've had Arik Armstead twice as well. A lot of talented defensive tackles. And against what that interior of the offensive was like earlier this year, it really caused some issues. But you watched in that last game against the Colts that now, if that interior is solid and you've got two tackles that can run guys past the hoop, Stroud's got a pocket that he can play at his prime level and really build confidence. So I expect an A-plus performance from CJ Stroud.
Okay, awesome.
I agree.
Jules, real quick before you go, I'm gonna give you these stats, post Braddock, and I'm gonna see what you say. So, CJ Stroud and stat lines in wins versus losses. In wins, CJ is 97 of 129 for 75.2%, 1,071 passing yards, 8 TDs, 2 picks, 112.75 passer rating. In the losses, Jules, CJ is 86 of 148 for 58% completion percentage, 907 yards, 3 TDs, 4 picks, and a 76% passer rating. Jules, which CJ Stroud, A, do we need to see, and B, do you think we're going to see?
I'm going to see I'm going to say the good CJ Stroud. I think it's the one that is still building on the offense, still understanding the offense, still understanding the ins and outs, the protections, before the snap situations, and his receivers and the O line. It's like I said earlier, you got 12 new players on the offense on the team together, but you have at least 7 good new starters. You have a new OC. You have a new tackles, and you have new receivers other than Nick Collins. So it takes time to build an offense to be functional. So it's getting everybody on the same page. And I see him learn. I'm seeing him building onto what they're looking for. I'm actually more encouraged that the OC is actually understanding where he's going, and he's actually teaching CJ how to be the quarterback he needs to be for this offense going forward.
Mm-hmm. Let's go over here real quick. All right, so we got a comment. Brandon, how long? Yeah. Those games being when the coaches started Kenny Green, Shaq Mason, Blake Fisher, CD South.
100%.
I forgot all
100%.
of it.
I think Brandon hit the nail on the head. A lot of those, you started 0-3 for a reason, Clay.
Right.
And then a lot of those NFC losses and struggle and stats. I mean, first game, you got Titus at right guard. You've got Ariante Ursary playing at a position unfamiliar to him. And it's not as easy as, oh, well, he's playing tackle, just flip him to the other side. No, everything's the exact opposite. Cam Robinson's not even on the team anymore, is playing left side. Then left guard, you've got Lakin Thomason, you got Juice Scruggs. Left guard position was so bad this year that we saw a rotation between these guys in game. And like the old adage with quarterbacks in college, if you got 2, you have none. Well,
Right.
that's what left guard was for the Texans this year. So a lot of those early season struggles, to Jules' points as well, so, the young wide receivers having to come in. Jaden Higgins wasn't, I'm not talking about just as a receiver going out on routes. He wasn't blocking with the best
Right.
effort those first couple games. We've seen that jump tremendously. That makes a huge difference. Woody Marks was an afterthought in those early games. He wasn't getting the touches that he's been getting as of late. And then Nick Caley, we think because you're not a player, you're a coach that coached before, you still go into a new position. You got to get that OJT, that on the job training. And so he's starting to get his legs underneath him as well. So many moving pieces, so many early NFC games, and O-line issues through the wazoo. And so, I mean, I think a lot of that has to do with those stat splits as well, too.
Right.
Hold on. All right. AD says he doesn't know if this is a good thing or a problem, but the Texans have always been able to self-correct on the fly.
Yeah.
Jules, I think this goes to what that comment. Let me put it back up there. And now, Fredo, I'm gonna come to you. So, Jules, we talked about this off stream, right? What I said was, maybe I was nitpicking. I said, call me ignorant, but why did it take until week 10, right, to realize, oh, wait, we can toss it to the left or to the right, and Woody Marks, who has a bit more juice than Nick Chubb, can take it to the house, right, doing that kind of stuff, instead of jamming it up the A gap, right? Why did it take until week 12, week 13 to say, hey, in a league where the Eagles exist, how about on 4th and inches, we hand it to some big meaty guys and fall forward for a tush push, right? Jules, what do you think about that? Like, what do you think about the fact that it took us this long to get here? Is it like okay, or is it problematic moving forward?
Well, the thing is, you got to learn by your failures. You got to learn how what don't work. So you put, like CJ said earlier, you put all this time in to do a game plan. You do all these practices. You got to see what doesn't work. So you got to see if you what you need to improve. So by failing, sometimes you do learn more and go forward. So you just don't want to say, "Well, I'm gonna flip this." We don't know if it works or not. So you got to keep trying and keep trying. And once you feel like it doesn't work, then you gotta go move to somewhere else. But if you don't ever try, all the stuff you practice, all the man hours you done, and all the reps you done, you'll never know. So it just takes a while. And like Jason said, on the job training, this is his first time being a OC where you have full control of the offense, and there's no one above you to ask. And I always said it before, good rookie OCs work wonderful under head coaches who are offensive minded.
Mm,
It is hard for a rookie OC to work for a defensive minded head coach because there's no one to bounce off ideas of. There's no one to take the lead, and you really can't learn. So you're learning on the go and you're on the fly. And as they see, you learn to fly, so you got to learn to adjust on the fly. And that's what he's doing. He's building the offense for the Texans and what D'Amico wants to go. And then everybody has been the same page. And you don't have the real talent on the O line as you really want to because you really want to run the ball. You really want to and the reason why you can't score because you can't punch it in from the one or the two because your O line is getting enough push. So all this is going into what he's going in, and then for the next couple games, you're just gonna be let's just score enough because defense is great. Score enough so defense could be okay, and then to go to offseason, then you can address the needs of the offensive line and some players to be the offensive line you need to be going forward.
right. Well said. So, okay, boom, throw this out there, right? Jules, you mentioned it. Braddock, I'm gonna come to you with this. Not only have we had concerns or observations about the offense and Nick Haley and CJ Stroud, but D'Amico Ryans, he is the head guy, right? And we've had conversations about him as an in-game decision maker, right? How he manages 2-minute drill, right? How he himself has said, "Hey, I'm an aggressive coach." There are moments where instead of like running the ball or going for the field goal, like we're gonna try to pass it from the 10 with Davis Mills against the Denver Broncos. Like we're gonna do stuff like that because they're trying to, win the game right then and there, right? On one hand, I respect the aggressiveness, right? But on the other hand, again, it leaves a lot to be desired when you are trying to prop up a rookie OC and a CJ Stroud on the second, OC. Like as a head coach, you'd want him to kind of help manage that and mitigate that by saying, let's play a tad bit more conservative, take the points and maybe win some more games. But hey, that's just me. Braddock, what do you think about that element too? Like, do we think D'Amico Ryans is improving as a game manager? Oh, I'm sorry, as a in-game manager, head coach.
No, I still think there's some errors and some mistakes, and it could be something as simple as the communication between him and his first year OC not getting on the same page. There's no excuses for the end of the first half last week.
Right.
They should have had, I mean, I want to say what, almost a minute and a half, so a minute, 15 minute and a half went off in like 3 plays, somewhere around their ballpark. But you also have to execute as well. On that same drive, they still had opportunity to score points. Nico Collins had one of his worst jump balls I've ever seen from Nico, where he missed times that he comes up short and then missed times his jump. And that's something Nico normally brings down more times than not. Then later in that drive, when you're able to get in field goal range, convert the first down, Jaden Higgins, and again, this is a rookie wide receiver, so you give him a little bit more grace. He's got to cut that upfield. His man falls down over the middle of the field. He runs right into that tackle, stopping short of the first down. He cuts that upfield. Not only does he get the first down, he might break this for another 5, 10 yards, and he's definitely in field goal range. So that offense has a little bit more drive. And I know a lot of people, you talked about being pro, getting in there, seeing what the Eagles have done on short yardage the last couple of years. And you've been like, what's taking so long to get someone like Kate Stover in there? And so I 100% agree with you. If it's 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, especially when you're having O-line issues early in the year, I'm all for instead of dropping back 5 yards to hand off the ball, and no knock on Woody Marks because he showed that he can make guys miss in the backfield and still get positive yards. But more times than not, that's not going to work in situations where everybody's in a bunch around the line trying to stop short yardage. So line Stover up there. Now to the aggressive side, I'm fine with the coach saying, listen, I can kick the field goal here and go up 7, and I've got a little bit more of a safety, little safety net there, or I can step on their throat and just put this game over now with something that's worked twice out of 2 times in this game. And I think it worked that third time as well, but they were called short. And then, so if you're sitting there and you think it worked that third time as well, why not run it again? So, yeah, you can absolutely, I have no issue if you make the case, well, get that safety net, kick the field goal, go up to 7, and your defense has a little cushion if they do give up the touchdown when you're still playing for overtime instead of the loss. But at the same time, if that works out and Stover gets that, like I would think most times it would, and it probably did on that third down, then go ahead and step on their throat and end it. So I think that a lot of that, the blowback on the Stover, on those third and fourth down stops back to back. I think a lot of that blowback is based on the outcome of the play instead of the decision on the play.
Yeah, I agree.
Fair enough. I was just about to say, Jules, you have anything to add on? Because, yes, fair enough.
Well, like I said, I agree with Jason. I think if he was more aggressive in the first half, it would match what he did in the second half. And I
Mm.
think it's
True.
inconsistent that you don't you say you want to be aggressive, but when you had time to score 3 points, at least get 3 points, and then you'll get the ball back again the second half. That's when you really want to be aggressive because your defense is really playing well. But they looked like they were like, okay, we're just gonna be okay with what we have, and if we get the first down, if we get more yards, it's fine. There was nothing to say we want to be aggressive, we want to score, and that's what very good to great teams understand is if you have a time to get points before the half and you know you're getting the ball, you're gonna double dip, and that's what he needs to see. But that's why I say it's a little inconsistent about what he's saying about being aggressive.
Sure. Yeah. Look, I agree 100%, and I think it comes down to D'Amico's learning, right? He a defense leaning guy. He has pulled back and allowed Matt Burke to more so run that show, and he's been absorbing more things on the offense, we presume. So I think that'll grow. Look, I think D'Amico is self aware enough to know, like, okay, I will say this to his credit. He keeps 3 timeouts on him, like 2 to 3 on average. If nothing else, D'Amico keeps his timeouts. That I never have a doubt about that. And
and,
he's
and
upset when
challenges
man,
and
listen,
challenges.
he's upset when he has to burn one. He's hot because that's not what he likes to do at all. So I'll give him that. Normally we can't say that, but so rolling on specific to Kansas City prep, talking about all these things schematically and Nick Haley and D'Amico Ryan, Cedar Stroud. There's some injuries that have happened this week. So surprisingly, right, we had Tim Settle, that news, defensive tackle Tim Settle, for those who don't know, he's out for the season with foot surgery, right?
That's 80's big brother, a little brother.
Right. AD said, and I quote, paraphrasing, he said, he broke his foot off in the Colts, and that's why he's hurt for the season, so he's gone. But then another one, Kamari Lassiter, that one's a surprise, right? So at first, Kamari popped up on the injury report, nursing a foot injury. But as of multiple reports now, and KD's saying right now, it looks like Kamari Lassiter is in line to play Sunday, right? So that's good. Which, me personally, I'm more concerned about Kamari's absence than I would be Tim Settle. That's just me.
I
But then
agree.
then on the Kansas City side, right? They got it much worse, arguably. 3 of their starting tackles are on slate to be out. They already got Josh Simmons. He's out on IR. With now news, you got Trey Smith at guard. He's doubtful to play. And you got Juwan Taylor at right tackle. He is doubtful to play. Braddock, with the Chiefs being down 3 starting offensive tackles, are we eating? Are they barbecue chicken? Or no?
No, you definitely should be eating in this game. I mean, you've got 60% of the offensive line more than likely out, and you're talking about against the best defense in the league. So they're going to have to take more guys, have extra protection, whether you're going 12 personnel or, you bring in that 6 offensive line like what the Texans did with Blake Fisher this year. Excuse me. Um, but so I definitely expect the Texans to do that. Patrick Mahomes, though, he's a guy that can create, can get outside the pocket and make things happen off schedule. That being said, though, that's something Josh Allen can do as well with his feet. And I mean, we saw how that worked out. And we're talking about a much better offensive line with the Buffalo Bills. That was all the talk going to that game is against how great that Bills offensive line is, and the Texans shredded them. And I expect the Chiefs to keep more in for protection. But the Texans have the ability to really just go pin their ears back in this game and make things a nightmare for Patrick Mahomes. And what I love about Daniil Hunter, that expertise of that, he's not going to over pursue that pocket. Once he gets even with the quarterback, he's stopping pace where he's not pursuing and leaving that big void that Mahomes or another quarterback can step up in. He's one of the most disciplined defensive ends, that elite talent defensive ends that show that type of ability rather than just full all out pursuit. Now, as far as the Tim Settle, I think you've got guys there. Sheldon Rankins, Mario Edwards, they probably give you a little bit more in the pass rush. Tommy Togiai, he's a guy that can take on more of a role with Tim Settle. But Settle was the best guy on the team as far as taking those double teams and being able to hold ground, really just drop anchors and not leaving a void in the middle of that line. They really don't have another guy with the way they like to rotate. And so we might see a guy like the undrafted rookie. Forgive me if I'm massacring his name, but Junior Tafuna, whatever. I'll let y'all pronounce it. But this is more of a guy that has shown, even though they were just preseason reps in the preseason for the Texans, that he could against NFL offensive linemen go in there and hold his spot. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a practice squad elevation for him to get in there as a little bit more extra insurance to have another guy that can hold up against those double teams, not leave a void for Kareem Hunt, who's, I want to say, 4 of his last 5 games averaging around 4.5 yards per carry. And then Mahomes has been more willing to run this year.
Mm-hmm. So, Jules, what do you think about AD's comment down below? He says the linebackers are what we should be really focusing and watching for against the Chiefs with Mahomes and Kelsey.
I mean, yeah, I mean, if we only could bring, if we can get 4 guys onto Pat Mahomes and win 85% of the time, then we have more people and Petrie, who's a slash linebacker slash secondary, that can cover the speed of Worthy and the cuts and crosses for Kelsey, and that keeps their offense at bay. And yeah, we that's what we're looking for. We want to make sure that the middle and when he does them off script practice, somebody's in his face or in those passing lanes for our linebackers to get to. So I agree.
And AD mentions in the comments, he talked about having Mario Edwards, Autry, and Kurt Heinisch as well. Yeah, they're still on the roster, but Heinisch is on pup. I doubt we're going to see him. You also got Foley, who's on IR. And so when those guys come back, they give you a little bit more depth. But Foley's still on IR with that shoulder injury. Kurt Heinisch has still been on pup all season long. And so I would be surprised if we saw him on a Saturday get promoted with no practices and everything and go into this game. Now, to his point, he also mentions Danico Autry, and we saw last week where you had Will Anderson Jr. as that spinner lining up over the center and Tanner Bortolini to where you could kick Danico Autry out to defensive end, have Will Anderson Jr. go in, but there's still going to be more in pass rush situations on those run stuff downs where you're going to typically see a rotation of 2 for 2 at that defensive tackle position. You could put Autry in there, but Autry, Mario Edwards, Sheldon Rankins, those are more guys that are going to give up some ground when they get hit with that double team where Tim Settle would be able to drop anchor there. So I still think it's something to where they need some bulk in there. Now, when and if Foley comes back from IR, I think that's a perfect replacement there to come in and fill that void for Tim Settle.
Hey, do you think Dylan Horton gets more snaps inside?
I haven't seen any. Another guy on the practice squad at defensive tackles, Marlon Davison,
Yeah.
a former top 50 pick, has struggled with injuries the last couple of years, including this year. Played that first preseason game against Minnesota. You'll see him. He's kind of like a Danico Autry light, where he'll play some D tackle, also kick out the defensive end. Last regular season action he got was back in 2023 when he actually played with Danico Autry and Aziz on that Titans defense. And if you remember, in that overtime game against the Texans, he actually sacked Case Keenum from the defensive end position. And
Right.
so if they were needing more of that type of versatility with another type of Autry guy, I think Marlon Davidson would get the promotion here. But needing some more bulk and somebody that can actually anchor there in the middle of the line, I think Junior is more of the guy that could see the promotion. But this is just me speculating on the different styles of plays from the defensive tackles that are currently available.
Gotcha.
Yeah, well said. All right, so look at this comment, right? Tickets for the game are selling cheap. Are they scared for a primetime game? It does make me think. Braddock, you kind of mentioned this earlier. The stakes to this game, right? We know, look, it's 4 games in a row, right? We know it's AFC South, we know it's AFC playoff push. But I put out an article earlier this week mentioning how this is an opportunity for the Texans to close the book on one of the most painful chapters in franchise history, if not sports history. Going up 24-0, and then all of a sudden you find yourself in the midst of a complete franchise overhaul. You can get nothing right. You're firing guys left and right. You go through 2 coaches in 2 years. You finally land on D'Amico Ryans. You got to trade Deshaun Watson. You mutually agree to part ways, Jack Easterby, in such a truncated 2 to 3 year span that literally had you as one of the worst functioning business models, not just professional sports teams, but business models probably in America. It was that bad. For those who don't know, outside of Houston, it was that bad, right? But now we have ourselves here. I wrote about it. I said it's a lot more than just playoffs in the AFC South. I believe this is an indicator. If the Texans pull this off, I think the stakes tell me that puts this team in a place, even prior to the conference championship, which we all know we want to get to, as a unit, as an organization, with where they've been from and where they're going to now. If they can conquer this mountain right now, it's not the Chiefs' direct fault, but I just think symbolically it means that much to me. Braddock, am I reading too much into this, the magnitude of this right now, or there's something to what I just mentioned?
No, absolutely not. I'm right there with you. More than anything, it's a confidence builder, and I don't think the Texans lack for confidence inside that building. But just to add that extra boost of confidence, and even to the fan base that's always sitting there like, "Oh, is this going to be the same old Texans? We've been here before." I think you start off 0-3, you start off 3-5, then you're like, man, how can you get back in this race? You got 3 games against Buffalo, Indy, and Kansas City, with the last 2 on the road, and Kansas City having 10 days to prep for you. If you pull out that win, then you're looking at the teams that's in the playoffs currently or in the hunt for the playoffs, and you got wins over Kansas City, Buffalo, Jacksonville, Indy, Baltimore, and you should have beat Denver, and you probably do beat Denver if Stroud doesn't get hurt at the beginning of the second quarter. I mean, that's you're looking at the whole playoff slot almost outside of New England, who's played nobody. I mean, go look at their schedule. They've played nobody. And so I think it's just an ultimate confidence booster. And I think something we haven't talked about enough is that if you finally get all the way over this mountains with wins over Buffalo, Indy, and Kansas City, 3 of your last 4 games are at home. And you've got the Raiders, you've got the Cardinals, and the Chargers are in that playoff hunt. That's another team you can get a win over. That's in that playoff hunt where you're almost just checking each one of them off, beating them during the year. This game is so important because it keeps you in that hunt in the AFC South. You lose this game, you're 2 games back because either Indy or Jacksonville's going to win. Let's throw tie out the window. I know there's that small percent, but just for the sake of argument, you lose this game to Kansas City, you're 2 games back of the AFC South division. And I think that's the ultimate goal in trying to get up to that 3 seed, host that home field game there to start the playoffs, get a lower seeded team as well, instead of battling with those teams there. I mean, you got what, 4 teams? 5 teams if you count a division winner between the AFC, or the division leader between the Jags and the Colts right now. But you got Jags, Colts, Chargers, Bills, all with 8 wins. You lose this game, you've got the same records as the Chiefs, and now you start losing the tiebreakers. Your
Yeah.
conference record drops from 6-2 to 6-3. All these tiebreakers that are set up towards the Texans' favors, they start going back the other direction. So I think you stay in that driver's seat. You continue to control your own destiny. And if your ultimate goal is not to just make the playoffs, but to go somewhere you've never been, the AFC Championship, and you get there, then we can start talking about the Super Bowl. But my ultimate goal for this Texans team, show me that you can do something you've never done before. Win the AFC South 3 years in a row, get to an AFC Championship game. Then if that happens, then we'll talk about Super Bowl or whatever else could be on the horizon for this franchise.
Right. Jules, anything to add on?
Nah, I mean he pretty much hit the nail on the coffin. I mean on the head. So yeah, I ain't gonna know off that one. Exactly what he said.
Okay. And just a little tidbit, this is not even like a worth pursuing, right? Maybe it's being petty, I don't know. But the Kansas City Chiefs themselves on their official X account, they posted a video. I don't know the guy's name, but basically he was giving a breakdown of Patrick Mahomes' record against teams with either the number one overall defense or the number one scoring defense, saying that he was 5-1, all these accolades and whatnot. And I posted about it and I said, I actually kind of respect that. Like, we talk about it, right? But to see that, these teams are owning this and saying, like, hey, listen, we know what's at stake. We got a Hall of Fame QB to back us up, blah, blah, blah. I just think all that adds extra spice to what we're going to get on Sunday night. I'm so used to the Houston Texans special of getting the, the 12 p.m. slot. I'm not used to waiting until 6, 7 p.m. to to watch the Texans. So I'm sorry. I teach 8th graders, right? It's stuff.
Right. It's it. You see it every day. It's just in the back of your mind at this point. 6, 7.
Six, 7.
Right.
6,
Right.
7.
Exactly. But at this point now, yeah. So, but again, it's more fuel to the fire. It's exciting, right? It's high stakes for everybody. And I forgot who mentioned this, but somebody said it like this. They said, to your point, Braddock, he said, don't get caught up in all the lofty stuff yet. Let's just one step at a time. Somebody just mentioned it with Kansas City, right? Like, don't go on talking too big about Kansas City and what you're going to do and all this stuff. Like, no, they're 3-time champs for a reason under Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. They're probably cooking up something right now. That changes nothing about your preparation. You still have to go in and you have to prove it. And this comment was made earlier that I meant to go back to, but they mentioned the weather.
Oh, yeah.
We might touch on it. They mentioned, y'all probably saw it. Where is it? They said the place like, what was it, 30?
30. But like I want to go back to the last point about the number one defense versus Pat Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
What's one thing that Pat Mahomes do struggle with, and that's when a team can bring 4 to 5 only and come get you, and that's what the Texans can do. And if they can control, and when they control that D line and the O line, Pat Mahomes always has trouble with finding open guys because he's on the run too much, and that's what this defense is really built on. The secondary is top notch, but the engine that runs this defense is those 2 pass rushers and having a stable defensive tackles to allow Miko to do what he got to do on the second and the back half. So we're not pumping these guys up because they haven't earned it. Their D line can show that they can dominate any offensive line and any quarterback. They showed it with all the quarterbacks they show now. So can we be a little hyper? Yeah, because they've shown it through 8 games that they can shut down quarterbacks from doing what they want to do.
Hold on, right here. What is that? Brandon been cooking? Chiefs fans said Andy Reid was a genius for having the inside to move Damon Pierce to kick returner. Oh, you're gonna learn, right? Yeah, that's always funny. Oh, bro, the whole tickle your tonsils thing. That has to become something somewhere. That ought to look. That's just an Andy Reid thing to say. But anyway, like I said, it's a lot going on. But this is an exciting time to be a Texans fan. It's an exciting time to be an NFL fan. Like, look, this slate this weekend is so massive for the Texans. A lot of things can shift. Oh, why are you dunking on Toa? But
Toa catching strays out of nowhere from AD.
I mean, look, look. The reality is, like, look, we understand, like, Mahomes and Andy Reid, they're going to play chess. They're going to try to pick apart matchups. We understand that. We know that the Texans do have specific weaknesses, like with running backs out of the backfield on wheel routes. We've seen it against Denver. That's why it's so important to be disciplined this Sunday, no matter what's going on. You make them earn every little thing, just like the Colts. Like, they're the number one offense scoring-wise for a reason. Like, you made them have to drop dimes to have to beat you, right? Like, and you're basically going to take that and say, you can't do it again, right? You can't do it enough times to defeat this defense, right? You got to keep that same mindset and don't assume anything. It's still Kansas City. I'm scarred, right? As much as I want them to win, I got to see Mahomes take an L for me to say, all right, cool, we're good to go. Having said that, we're going to roll on. We have this phase now, Braddock. We're kind of going to get into, going around the horn in the NFL, unless Jules, you have something else you want to do? get
Well,
to?
I just want to talk about. I want to talk about 80's point, but no. But if the D line can dominate the O line, you're not going to use no Toa to in blitz practice. All you want to do is sit back and main his zones, and then we win. So I'm not worried about if I'm worried about Toa and I'm worried about Algiers, I'm worried about JP getting beat too often. That means our D line is not doing their job. So I'm going into thinking that our D line is going to dominate.
Well,
That's true.
you mentioned about having that sore spot as far as the Chiefs coming back on that big game. Imagine having a watch party for that game. Me and Patrick Creighton were at doing late hits at
Oh
ESPN
God.
97.5 at the time, and we had a watch party at Texas Card
Oh.
House with
Mm-mm.
Texans fans. Imagine the first quarter, everybody's high fiving, drinks on me, everybody's enjoying it. Didn't just picture that environment as that game went on. So I mean, that's something that just stays etched in my mind, just seeing the disappointment on Texans fans' faces at a watch party. And I mean, it was just so. Yeah, I definitely understand that you can't ever rule out Patrick Mahomes. This is one of the greatest to ever do it. And last thing I'll say on that is that I know because of what Travis Kelsey has done against the Texans and the obvious Hall of Fame and the chemistry he has with Mahomes, a lot of the focus will be on him. Rasheed Rice, he's the
Yes.
engine to
Yes.
this offense. Missed the first 6 games, only played the last 6 games, yet he's second on the team in receptions, tied for the team lead and receiving touchdowns with 5. And Travis Kelsey's the only player with more targets than him on the entire season, except Marquise Brown, who's got one more target. He's played the entire year. Rice has only played half of the year, 6 of the 12 games. That's how important Rice is. He's averaging 10 targets a game. I don't know if they go back to what we saw early this season, where Stingley is mirroring or shadowing Devontae Adams, Mike Evans. If they do that with Rasheed Rice, but I wouldn't be opposed to it because if you can take out Rasheed Rice, Xavier Worthy's not scaring me. He's not the caliber of Rasheed Rice. Hollywood Brown's not scaring me. You do still have to worry about Kelsey, but you've got Jalen Petrie. You know,
Right.
you've got different guys in there. I think this could be an excellent game to go back to that Stingley Island and put him on rice and make it burnt rice.
That's funny. Make it burnt rice. That's funny. Brown rice. Okay. That on that note, that's hilarious. On that note, let's go around the horn. Let's go ahead and check out the rest of these NFL slates. Again, because we're going to be sitting back watching, the rest of the NFL world fall into place.
Right.
All right. So we're going to start this way. Braddock, we call it the toilet bowl. Braddock, we got Titans versus Browns first, kicking us off. Sunday, 12 o'clock p.m. in Cleveland, Ohio. Who you got?
I'm going to go Browns. And the reason I'm going Browns here, Myles Garrett has an insane 19 sacks. The single season sack record is 22 and a half. 4 sacks. Myles Garrett sets the record at home in week 14. This, when we talk about generational, that's the guy you slap it on. Number 1 pick in the draft, came out of Texas A&M, complete stud, has only gotten better year after year. And if you're thinking, yeah, but how often can you have 4 sacks in a game? In his last 5 games, he's had a game with 3 sacks, one with 4 sacks, and one with 5 sacks. Who's he facing in this game? The most sacked quarterback in the NFL. I want to say like 48 or 50 sacks in Cam Ward. I'm watching this game because I think Myles Garrett wins it for the Cleveland Browns and might actually set the sack record in week 14. That's
Okay.
insane.
Calling a shot. Jules, what you got?
Um, I'm going Cleveland. I want to see Shador do a little better. I think this is a good game for him. It sets up where the Titans defense is not that good. So I think it'd be a good game for Shador.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, see, that's hard for me. But what was it? Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, I forgot they're playing the Titans. Yeah, I'm going Browns. Yeah. I was trying to have something deep to say. No, it's Tennessee. They're the worst team in football, probably. So yeah. And don't be surprised if Cleveland blows them out by like 30. Yeah.
There's no deep thought about this game, sir.
No, it's not. Look, shut up. But no, kind of going out of order a bit, like got kind of excited. So before we move on from this, while the iron is hot, let's go ahead and call the Texans Chiefs game right now. Like while the NFL world is playing it out, let's go ahead and just get that settled right now, right? Texans, Chiefs. Braddock, score prediction. Who you got?
Well, I think it was Alfredo who talked about the weather earlier, if I'm not mistaken. He was talking about you worried about the cold. Yeah, absolutely. And I know I've read the articles about putting the Vaseline on their skin and all these different things they're they're doing to prepare for this cold. Excuse me. Chiefs don't have to prepare for this cold. This is something they play in yearly. Prime time at night, that cold is going to be biting. And so I definitely think it's a factor. This is a nasty defense. I think it's going to be low scoring. And if the Texans can keep them under 20, then this is the game the Texans are going to win, despite the cold and everything. So this Texans defense is nasty. So I think the cold with their mindset is something they take like a D'Amico Ryan's mindset and just say this is just mindset. Something paraphrasing that D'Amico said in a press conference earlier this week. I think they really buy into it. The offense, I'm not sure. I think it hits them probably a little bit harder. So I see this as a low scoring game. I've got Texans 20, Chiefs 16.
Okay. And Jules, what you got?
I got 24-10 Texans. I see Stroud getting at least one passing touchdown, and I see one goal line touchdown from Marks or Chubbs to show that this offense is going forward. And like I said before, if they do what I think they can do against this team and get the confidence, then I can be more. As people call me, I can be stop being a hypocrite and go forward. I have to see them do it, and I want to see them do it against the Kansas City more than anybody else going forward before I can get on this road that we have a good team.
Right. And say your score prediction again, Jules.
24-10.
24-10. Okay. So AD hits you with the 27-16. Look, y'all got blowouts, man. Listen, as much as I want to pick blowouts, I'm gonna meet you in the middle. I do have Texans winning. Give me 24-13 Texans.
You 3 points above me.
Huh?
You 3 points above me. We talking about I'm talking blowout.
Hey,
You
hey,
right there
hey.
with me.
Hey. It's like Price is Right. You know, the person who's like, they
He
ask
said
about what the
24-11.
right. You know, this Price is Right. You got the person who just went before you. You ask, hey, what they do? All right, cool. Then put another dollar on it, right? Like, there you go.
Right.
That's what you do.
Nice.
Right?
I
Somebody else said the O-line is so bad the Chiefs decided to bench Mahomes that have to protect him. Listen, it would be a beautiful thing if the Texans were to find a way to make Mahomes unplayable in the fourth quarter. Like, that would be the scene of the week if that were to happen. I wouldn't call it, but hey, look, all we're asking for, CJ, just trust the offense. I never thought I'd ever be defending a Nick Haley unit ever, but here we are. If you just, bro, listen, just run the offense, right? It's a ball control offense. You're going to dominate time of possession. The first downs are going to be there. And if you want to take the deep shot, they can be there. They can. But what's most important is staying on the field and turning sevens into sevens instead of sevens into threes. And if you get threes, keep them threes and don't turn them into zeros, right? Just stay the course, right? And if we win, look, 24-10 or 13, great. We don't need 50. Now, if you drop 50, that changes the complexion of your season entirely, right? We're not going to go there. But if you do something like that, that completely changes the complexity of the AFC. But
yeah, to your point, Clay, both of these teams are top 5 in time of possession. I think Texans are 3rd, Chiefs are 5th, and both of these teams are top 6 in defensive points allowed scored, where the Texans are giving up 16 and a half. I think the Chiefs are giving up 18.3. Low scoring games should be the expectation, especially there in the elements. And to Jules' point, where he's talking about scoring in the red zone, they still have struggled in the red zone the last 4 weeks or so. I want to say 3 of those 4 weeks, if I'm not mistaken, they've been better in goal to go situations, going like 2 for 3 in 3 of those 4 games. So goal to go is getting better. Red zone has still been an issue. And if Kyrie Fairbairn is kicking in 23-degree weather, he's kicking an ice ball. So, I mean, scoring in the red zone and goal to go, getting those touchdowns instead of field goals could be huge for a guy where not only are you not getting that extra +4 by getting the touchdown over the field goal, I wouldn't call those field goals give me shots at that point for a guy who's not used to kicking in that type of weather.
Right, and I'm hoping that they understand that you have 3 receivers who have nice catch radius over 6'3" in the cold weather. Use those advantages that you have in the cold weather.
I say
Yeah.
stick with the Stover.
Oh yeah,
Whatever the nickname is for it. I've seen 50 different nicknames for it, but I
Overdoser.
the
I
Stover
stay
over.
stick
Stover
Stover
dozer.
over, Stover stuff, Stover. I mean, whatever you want to go, man, with it. I say you get 31s, you get 4th and 1 in the cold weather. I hope you've been practicing that play all week, and that I know he played quarterback in high school some as well, so he should be able to read those gaps and where there's some space and where there's a void, be able to take that void and convert those first downs. I hope that
Stover.
stays a pivotal part of the game plan.
Stover
Yeah,
time.
and with Chris
No.
Jones being as long in the tooth as he is, other than him, I don't really see a powerful D tackle that you have to worry about that play doesn't work. And Philadelphia showed they can get pushed around. That D line is not that strong to me.
And to your point, kicking Titus inside the guard. Now you have that bulk with those two guards
Mm,
on each
Right.
side, even on the outside with Trent Brown at right tackle. If you need to open that door on the right side, him and Ingram can really just open the door and open a lane there. But to your point, as far as on the interior, where they were getting dominated on that interior against Jeffrey Simmons and different guys like that early in the year, now
Yeah.
you have those big bodies in Titus and Ingram that can work in unison with Jake Andrews to get that push.
Right.
absolutely. And just a little wrinkle before we go back around the horn. The Ravens had a fake tush push that they turned into a, 40, 50-yard touchdown run because they handed it off selling the tush push. Just saying, you can throw it in there now. You have it on tape. Just saying. But
If
Hey,
that blew up
hey,
on
hold up.
you, if that
Let's
blew up on you in this game, they would be
yeah.
running everybody. Remember, this is, you know, the fan base has already fired D'Amico Ryans, Nick Caley, Cole Popovich, Nick Casario, and their spouses earlier this season, and Frank Ross. So I mean,
Oh,
everybody's already been fired. If they go with a trick play like that in this game against Kansas City, oh man, they'd get ran out of town.
do you
absolutely.
remember the last time they did a trick play? It didn't work against Kansas City.
Well, no, to be,
The playoff game to
I
Justin
know.
Reed.
Hey man, listen,
No, no, no. I can't let you put that in the atmosphere. Just
look,
line up and play.
hey,
No.
look, I
Remember
got you.
Bill O'Brien against the Chiefs in the playoffs?
That's what I'm
What
talking
was it
about.
like? Yeah,
The same play.
first and goal on the one. Let's bring Vince Wilfork in at fullback and give
JJ
JJ Watt
Watt.
the ball and let him run it. It's like Bill O'Brien. I asked, funny story. First question in the press conference, I asked Bill O'Brien, whose decision was it? My next question. Yeah, I mean, you know how Bill O'Brien
Oh
got.
yeah.
And so I had to follow it up
Oh,
because nothing like seeing teapots start to simmer.
oh,
But
absolutely.
just to put a nail in this situation, to beat the Chiefs, the teams that beat the Chiefs don't do nothing fancy. They just hit him in the mouth and they play control offense. That's exactly what you gotta do.
There you go. Yeah, hey, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Having
Trick
said that,
play.
moving on.
Trick play.
Speaking of speaking of Smash Mouth football, our next game on the agenda, we got Seahawks versus Falcons in Atlanta. Braddock, who you got?
My preseason pick, I had a couple picks in the preseason that surprised people. I had the Seahawks winning that division when most of the love was on the Rams and the 49ers as well. I've liked this Seahawks team since the onset. Since the preseason, and so I'm buying this Seahawks team. I don't see them having a letdown against a Falcons team that just really looks like they fumbled the bag here with Penix injuries after all the injuries he's had in his career, Kirk Cousins and what the contract he has. This franchise could be set back a couple years. So I've got the Seahawks who really have something to play for in that tight race with the Rams.
Yeah, I agree because they still got the 49ers snipping their toes too. And I just want to be the agent for Kirk Cousins because he's got this man paid like he has won 8 Super Bowls in his whole lifetime. So whoever Kirk Cousins agent is, he should be agent of the decade.
Kirk Cousins,
But
Matt Schaub. Kirk Cousins, Matt Schaub, man, and Cousins just continue to get that money.
right,
Because
but
he's just
I
good
pick a
enough.
Seattle. I pick a Seattle though.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I got Seattle too. Yeah, Kirk Cousins is just good enough. That's the crazy part. He's just good enough.
Not in
Um,
prime time though, but not in prime time.
oh, absolutely, yeah. The next low key kind of game of the week, if you're a Texans fan, Colts Jaguars in Jacksonville. Braddock.
I think you want to see the Colts win this game just because Jacksonville has such a weak schedule going down the stretch, and the Colts have such a such a tough schedule.
Mhm.
So I would say go ahead and get that extra loss on the Jags. You've got the tiebreaker over them, so you jump them.
Mhm.
They're in the playoff race if you're able to beat Kansas City and the Jags lose, and then you've got the Colts later in the season too. So even if the tough schedule doesn't get the Colts leading into Week 18, you can take care of business on your, by yourself there to end the season for possibly the conference there. You've already split with the Jags. So
Right.
I think you're pulling as a Texans perspective. I think you're pulling for the Colts, and not for that reason, but I think the Colts do win this because it comes down to I think both of these quarterbacks are similar and Daniel Jones and Trevor Lawrence. I think both of the defense are decent. Neither one's great, even though the way the Jags started with almost 3 turnovers a game the first 5 games of the year. Um, that being said, the only one that's got a true identity is the Colts with Jonathan Taylor, and I don't think the Jags defense is to the point where they can really take him out and limit him to the 0 touchdowns that we've seen that's been happening in the losses for the Colts. So I've got the Colts. I think it'll be a close one. To begin the season, I had the Texans winning the division, but I had the Colts and Jags within 1 game of the Texans in that division.
Mhm.
So it looks like it could play out that way. I think if you're a Texans fan, you're pulling for the Colts because that gives you the best path to really overtake the Colts, whether they do it before you face them or you have to take care of business yourself in Week 18.
True. Jules, what you got?
I mean, pretty much word for word. I think this starts more chaos if the Colts win, and it knocks the Jags back down to reality of what they really are, and it just makes everybody confused about what they really are from both sides of the ball. So the Colts win is something I'm looking forward to.
I think the Colts blow the Jags out. I'm sorry.
Oh
I think the
wow!
Colts. Oh, I think the Colts are going to be highly upset. I
But where
think
they
they're
playing
going to
though?
come out, huh?
Where they playing?
In Jacksonville.
Colts are hard. Colts play bad in Jacksonville
Yeah, I got that.
historically.
I no, I got it. But if there are two things that travel well, it's the defense and the run game, and it's the
Right.
fact that Jonathan Taylor is going to be ticked off. He was held to no scores, 80 plus yards. The Colts are going to be ticked off. They're going to feel, again, screwed over by the refs, all the good stuff. I am calling for a blowout. I am. I'm calling for a good 30 burger to about maybe like 20 plus by the Jaguars. But I got Colts winning this game, and I think they're going to be upset. I think they're going to be angry. So, yeah. Next up, we got Commanders versus Vikings, and I think JJ McCarthy has been declared back in, or 9, whoever is playing. But Braddock, who you got? You got 9 or the Vikings or Commanders or whoever's here?
Oh wow!
Mm.
Man, that's a
Oh,
tough
Jaden
one.
Daniels, I
Like
think is clear too.
somebody has to win, and so and that one, Vikings Commanders. It's a tough one, man. I guess I'm going to take the Vikings in this one, just by a field goal score.
Daniels is back in too. I didn't mention that, but he's been cleared.
Who's that?
I want to say Jaden Daniels has been cleared
Oh,
too.
is he back?
Yeah, I think so. So I think he's gonna be playing.
Well, I'll flip it then. If Jaden Daniels is back, I mean, I
Oh yeah.
think you got the upgrade on the quarterback performance there. And I don't know if y'all checked. I mean, it surprised me. I hadn't heard any promotions for it, but Hard Knocks has the NFC conference with Washington,
Mhm.
Dallas, Philly, and man, who am I forgetting? And the Giants, my fault.
Yeah.
They've
Mhm.
got that whole conference on Hard Knocks. First episode drop, and just watching them, you seen Dan Quinn. Just seems like he really still pursuing and wanting to win, no matter what the season's going at. If you get Jaden Daniels back, I know he hasn't been the same this year, but I'm going to take Washington in that one. Then they'll flip it for me.
Sure. Jules.
Well, I'm gonna go to Vikings because Justin Jefferson's 4 yards all last week.
Mhm.
There's no way they can allow that to happen again from such a player, or he's gonna start being
AJ
back to
Brown.
10. Yeah, so they got to figure out how to make that fun. If they can get in the balls, then they can win. The better defense is not really something you worry about. The offense is still trying to figure out, and that you adding Dane Daniels back to the game. He's trying to figure out what he is going forward and at the time. So I think it'd be more rust and an understanding. I'll go with Minnesota.
Give me the Commanders. I'm sorry. You avoid all this if you're Minnesota. If you just keep Sam Darnold, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Moving on from that. It's that simple to me. Moving on, we got another Texan special. Buffalo Bills versus the Cincinnati Bengals in Buffalo. Braddock, we got.
Part of me's leaning Buffalo's back against the wall. they're wanting to get in that playoffs. But man, Joe Burrow played so well, and I love. Maybe it's just my heart. I just love guys that remember that you're making millions and you're playing a kid's game, and that's what Joe Burrow came out when they said, "Hey." Your chance at making the playoffs are really slim, even in that bad division this year. But he said, "Man, fans are paying good money to see us play. We play a kids game. I love playing this game of football. I think that type of passion can't be faked. I'm gonna go with the upset here. I haven't looked at the point spread, but I'm guessing the Bills are favored here. I'm gonna take the Bengals to pull it off and stay in that race with either Pittsburgh or Baltimore losing this week.
Hmm. All right, Jules.
Well, I wanted to go with Cincinnati because I want the Buffalo to have the loss just because it benefits us. But I think with Trey Henderson still being ruled out, I'm gonna have to go with Buffalo this time.
Okay. I got Bengals. I think that running defense for the Buffalo Bills might bite him again, maybe. Again, Joe Burrow, he's motivated, right? He hasn't played this entire season, so he's fresh. He doesn't care nothing about what's going on. Like he's trying to ball, he's trying to show he's still who he is. And I think the Bengals are that right kind of petty to say we're going to play spoiler to everybody in front of us, even if we don't make the playoffs. So give me Cincinnati.
What's the Bengals record now? They're
Beng-
4-8
4-8.
or 4-8, and
Mhm.
so you've got 6-6 Pittsburgh against 6-6 Baltimore. They're
Right
still
there.
in that race. You know what I mean? As crazy as that sound, they're still in that race. So I wouldn't write them off. I do think Burrow's playing great. I love the point you mentioned about being fresh. I don't think that could be overstated. Tying that back in with the Texans, that's one of the things you hate about having an early season bye like the
Yeah.
Texans had. You're playing so many weeks, and that's when the injuries start hit you, like what we've seen this week.
Yeah, that's true. Yep. All right, rolling on. We got New Orleans Saints versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa Bay. Who we got, Braddock?
Oh man, selfishly, I picked the Panthers to win that division this year and surprise everyone over the Bucks. So selfishly, I would like to see the Saints come out with the win, so it just makes it a little bit more likely. But no, I think the Bucks, they're starting to get healthy too. I mean, we're start seeing some of those wide receivers that have been banged up starting to come back. Bucky Irvin coming back. So I think this Bucks team is going to start playing like they did early in the year. I got the Bucks easily here, double digit victory.
Yeah, Jules.
Yeah, they still got Tyler Shuck as their quarterback, and they think that he's going to be the quarterback of the future. I don't know why, but I'm going with Tampa Bay.
Because his
They
name
got
is not Shador. Yeah,
yeah, because
his name is
they
Shador.
they got Carolina on their back heels now, so they got to start getting right.
Sure. Yeah. I'll just complete the trifecta. Yeah, Tampa Bay by a wide margin. Yep, it's that kind of season for the Saints. Another Texans special. We got Steelers versus Ravens in Baltimore. Braddock, who you got?
I think you want Baltimore to win if you're a Texans fan. You've got the head-to-head victory. So if they lose this game and somehow the Texans and Baltimore, if the Steelers lose and it's the Texans and Steelers that's competing for a 7 seed, I know a lot would happen for it to come down to that. But just exercise a little bit of caution. I think you want the Ravens to win because you have the head-to-head victory over them, where you don't have that with the Steelers. Just nitpicking there. And I think the Ravens, after starting off so slow, all the injuries and coming back now, both of these teams are mediocre. Ravens at home. I'm going to Ravens in a close one, an ugly one.
All right, Jules.
Yeah, I agree with Reddick. The Ravens for Texans reasons only, and I want Aaron Rodgers to be retired, and Mike Tomlin to go get another coaching situation because they're not respecting his coach situation. But Lamar Jackson's got to score some touchdowns. I mean, we talk about CJ not throwing touchdowns. Lamar haven't scored in 3 or 4 games, so I think this is a get right game for him. I think he should get maybe 2 touchdowns throwing and one running. So I'm going Ravens just because I won the tiebreaker too.
I'm gonna call another blowout. I got Baltimore blowing Pittsburgh out. I got Lamar
It's
Jackson
possible.
throw. Yep, I got Lamar throwing 3 TDs, rushing for one, if not two. You mentioned get right. That's my definition of get right. I think the Steelers have been fraudulent. I think the Steelers are leaking oil, and I think the Ravens are gonna, they're gonna prove a point Sunday. So that's what I got. Steelers in. I'm sorry, Baltimore in a blowout. Moving on, toilet bowl. We got the New York Jets versus the Miami Dolphins in New York. Braddock, who you got?
I'm going to Jets. I mean, Adonai Mitchell, this is a guy I had a mid first round grade on, so maybe I missed, but he's got all the talent in the world. I had him rated higher than Brian Thomas Jr., so I might look foolish here because Brian Thomas Jr. had such a great rookie season. Not so much this year. Jacoby Myers has kind of taken that step in front of him as that go to over the last couple of weeks. And to be fair, Brian Thomas Jr. is coming back from injury. Last week was his first game back, but Jacoby Myers got 3 straight games with 6 targets. First receiver this year to have receiving touchdowns in back-to-back weeks. I think he might supplant Brian Thomas Jr. All that to say that I'm not ready to punt on Adonai Mitchell, especially not coming off his best game. And he did it playing for the Jets that haven't been able to pass the ball all year. And so I think they've got something with Adonai Mitchell. I think he's getting quality OJT, that on the job training that's letting him develop and fix some of those flaws that we saw at Texas, where he
Yeah.
quit on some routes, he makes some silly mistakes. Indy got tired of it. I thought it was a little bit silly to punt on him this early, especially I know he was buried behind Michael Pittman Jr., Alec Pierce, and Josh Downs, but Alec Pierce is a free agent at the end of the year. So to
Mhm.
move them, especially to give up 2 firsts for Sauce and to let them get Adonai Mitchell, who's a top
Crazy.
50 pick or around the top 50 pick, I think the Jets have something there, and that having Adonai Mitchell and a threat in the passing game just opens up Brees Hall more. So I'm going to go with the Jets there.
All right. Braddock, I mean, sorry, Jules.
I got Miami. I still think Mike McDaniel's still coaching for his job. I think the guys who wants to get paid and wants to establish something and not break up the team for the offseason, I think they still have something to fight for. So I'm gonna go Miami.
All right. See, that's tough. I'm gonna go Jets. We go Jets. Yep. I'm gonna do this. Go Jets. Yep.
Right.
Go Jets.
But but
I
why? But why? Why are you going? I understand Jason's point of view. But I disagree with it because I picked Miami. But why are you gonna pick the Jets though?
The
What?
reason why is because the Jets are known to win games that they have no business winning. And look, they've been on a little bit of, I'm not gonna say a roll, but they got a little bit cooking at the end of the season, right? Especially after trading Sauce and basically Justin Fields is out of the door. So I just think it's like a lot of pride happening in there. I think they just want to go out super sorry. So, but really, I'm hesitant because I don't want them to waste all their surprise wins on like Miami. Like, no, you can lose there. I need you to beat teams like the Jaguars. I need you to,
Okay.
surprise some of them teams, right, to help the Texans out. So it's like I got the Jets winning because again, I think to Braddock's point, I think they have talent. They just haven't used it. And I think at this point, I don't think they mind winning a game or two. And I just don't know with the Dolphins, right? Like they're not good enough for me to definitively put them over like a New York Jets. It's really like a this kind of thing. So
And you have to pull for Aaron Glenn, right? Former Texan. Also, did he go to Humble or Nimitz? I'm getting it confused right now. Was Aaron Glenn Humble High School or Nimitz High School? I want to say Humble.
I think it was Humble.
Yeah, I want to say it's Humble as well.
Yeah. So all things considered, I mean, I'm gonna lean Jets. Dolphins not that good. I mean, Jules, to your point, like they are in their own type of wilderness right now. They don't know who they want to be. Yeah, they've been cooking too, but I
Yeah,
just think
Devin A Chain's hard to go against. I mean, A Chain can definitely get you going there. But
future,
AD says it's Nimitz. Okay, all
yeah,
right. So it was Nimitz, not Humble. Okay, perfect.
future Texans, Devon Achane.
Gerard Johnson went to Humble. There you go.
Okay, yeah. I'm exhaling because we have another insufferable one right here. We got Raiders versus Broncos in Las Vegas. I exhale because that's gonna be another game where Broncos fans will tell you dead in your face, like, "Whoa, you can only play who's in front of you, right? We
Right.
really the number one defense." But Braddock, who you got? Denver or Las Vegas? Man,
Yeah, I mean, I want to say the Broncos beat them by what 10-7 early this year. Divisional games can be so funky, so it might turn out to be closer than what it's supposed to be. Where Denver should go, Denver should be able to blow this game out. Might be a little bit closer, but either way, with them having a chance to play for that 1 seed, I think Denver finds a way to get it done.
Denver finds a way to get it done. I mean, you shouldn't have to say that about a team who's double digits with the supposed number one defense, But okay, whatever. Jules, what you got, man?
I got Denver. This should be no contest. And like Jason said, they're still trying to fight for number one seed. and prove everybody wrong by having most wins they possibly have in the last 10, 15 years, I'm gonna go Denver. Vegas is not a threat to anybody.
They're not. They're insultingly bad. I
Side
don't see
note,
nobody.
now I've just got all these people from Nimitz and Humble going through my head, like Brittany Griner, Nimitz, David Boston, Humble, I
Mhm.
think David Patton Humble. So sorry, I just had to get it out there so it'd get out of my mind. That's all I could think about.
Oh, yeah, shout out Nimitz. Yeah, yeah. Shout out Nimitz. All right, next up, we got Rams Cardinals in Arizona. Braddock, we got
What was it again? Cardinals,
yeah,
Rams.
Cardinals Rams. Yep.
Yeah, Jacoby Brissett, kudos to him. I think he had like what a 6 game stretch with at least 2 touchdown passes in him. But he's one of the most sacked quarterbacks, and he's only started 7 games. They have no rushing attack. Once they lost James Conner and Trey Sermon earlier this year, the rushing attack hasn't been there. So it's basically Jacoby Brissett going back passing 50 times a game against this Rams team, especially with Stafford probably being pissed off. This dude had played like the MVP all season long. And then the Carolina Panthers, without J.C. Horn, picked him off what like 3 times. If I'm not,
Mhm.
he got picked off more against Carolina last week without J.C. Horn, who's got 5 interceptions, second most interceptions this year. I mean, go figure. So I think Stafford's pissed off. He goes there and a comfortable win over the Cardinals.
Of course. Jules.
Well, the Cardinals pissed me off when they played the Jags and let the Jags win. So I'm always gonna pick against the Cardinals for the rest of the season. I'm bitter.
Absolutely. Doesn't matter what the situation is. It could be Cardinals versus bye week. I'm gonna pick the bye week.
That's right.
Pick the bye week. Yeah, I got Rams too in a big one. Yep. Especially soften them up for us. Soften them up for us. Let's see. Next on the agenda, we got Bears versus Packers. Ooh, in Green Bay. Braddock, we got.
Man, Caleb hasn't played to his potential. He's played better. I think Rome Dunze's out in that game as well. Green Bay was reluctantly, I'll tell you my Super Bowl pick in the preseason. I had Green Bay versus Baltimore, which Baltimore has not played anything close to what I expected. I want to say I had Baltimore winning. I'm not really sure who I had winning it, but I think Green Bay on the positive is starting to get a little bit more back to where they should be. Micah Parsons in this game, Caleb Williams without Roman Dunze. But I thought I love Kyle Monangai. I don't know how he lasted to the 7th round, but now they've got them a little two-headed monster there with DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai. But I think the Packers pull this one out to really tighten up that divisional race.
Mm, all right. Well said, Jules.
Well, I'm gonna go with the Packers too. The Packers need to show that they actually can win the division and be really a strong component in the NFC Championship. I mean playoffs. I think they got something to prove, and they want to prove against Chicago. So I'm gonna go on the Packers.
All right. I'm gonna go Bears. I'm gonna go Bears for the upset.
Ain't
I'm going.
bad.
Hey,
I have
listen.
no problems with that. They create
Yeah.
turnovers, Clay. I mean, they've got 3 players there with what, 5 or more interceptions, or at least 4 or more interceptions, including the interception leader. So I'm not mad at you at all for that pick.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Listen, if you're Chicago, look, it's either this season or never, right? Like, it's either this one or I don't know what you do, right?
How many passing yards does Caleb Williams have? So I'm hoping we don't go into another season where we have to hear the same stat. The Bears have never had a 4,000-yard passer. I don't care what the Bears record finishes as. I just hope Caleb gets. I don't like you said. Price is right. Even if you get 4,001, I'm good with it. Just get 4,000 passing yards because that's the most overstated comment I've ever
Mhm.
heard. And so hopefully he'll get there. I'm not sure. I haven't looked lately, so I'm not sure where he's at.
Caleb is about 2,700 passing yards. To be specific, 2,722. He is 1,300 short.
All right,
Yeah.
with 5 games to go,
Yeah.
I
it's
don't know.
gonna be a
Maybe.
nail biter. Gonna be a nail
Yeah.
biter.
I don't know about that one. Look, as I'm saying, it's a lot of narratives, underneath the surface about Caleb and his efficiency and all these things. But hey, they're winning, so it's not loud yet, but it is there. And finally, another Texan special. We got the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Los Angeles Chargers in LA. Braddock, who you got?
I think the Eagles are pissed. The couple back-to-back losses. And I don't know if anybody's been as down on a team just because they're Super Bowl winners. I know Barkley hasn't performed at the highest. The beef between Jalen Hurts, shout out Channel View, and AJ Brown, all that noise. I just think this is a team that's been to the Super Bowl last couple years, won the Super Bowl last year, and they're right in the hunt with all the other NFC teams, so they could still come out on top of this thing. And with Dallas losing again, the division is going to be Philadelphia's. So I think this is something they can right that ship. We're talking about Kansas City's offensive line issues. That's not the only AFC West team with offensive line issues. The Chargers have been dealing with that all season long. I think the Eagles come out hungry and they're able to eat in this one. Give me Philly, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's by 10 or more.
Jules, what you got?
Man, I'm gonna go with the I'm gonna go with the Chargers. Just because, I ain't gonna bet you. I'm gonna go Philadelphia.
About to
I
say.
need, I need, I need every team in the AFC to lose. I don't care if they play themselves. Every team has to lose. So, but I think the Eagles are gonna win. I think Barkley's gonna have a resurgent game. I just don't believe in their defense, the Chargers defense, and I don't believe. I think Justin Herbert's out, right?
No, he had a procedure, but I think he's on track to play.
Yeah, I mean, with that defense still being this strong, you don't want to put that young man through all that, and they're gonna try it. He gets hurt worse than he is. It's fine. It's on them. That defense still gonna hurt, and he's still gonna have some kind of mindset about that injury. So I'm gonna go with the Eagles.
Yeah. Look, I'm gonna go with y'all. I got Eagles. I need them to win. We need them to win, right? And then, with that being said, kind of the little caveat to that, Chargers lose this one. They got Chiefs, Cowboys, us, and then the Broncos, right?
Right.
They have a disgustingly bad 5. And if they lose here, I mean, you could make the case they might lose 4 out of the next 5, if not all 5, and find themselves outside of the playoffs all completely. So, but that's neither here nor there. But we've reached the end of our road here on this good old Friday. Braddock, Jules, I'm thankful for you too. AD, thank you for holding down. Everyone in the comment section, thank you for holding down for the H-Town Rundown. Braddock, can you kind of let people know what you're up to nowadays? Where can they find you? How can they keep up with you?
Yeah, so as far as me, you can follow me on Twitter at Jayson Braddock or X, whatever, whatever your flavor, neighbor. Whether you still call it Twitter or you call it X, it's at Jayson Braddock, Y and Jason. Been writing, covering the AFC South for my friend Dr. Roto. Just a great guy. Go check out his stuff if you're in the fantasy football, especially high stakes. On the site, they do a lot of mostly fantasy football stuff, winning a lot of people money. One of the guys who works with me won $100,000 a couple weeks back with one of his lineups. Guy was there a couple years ago, won $1 million. I think that was about 2 years ago. So high stakes over there. They'll give you all the fantasy advice you need. Dr. Roto is one of the best in the business, hosted on SiriusXM, still does for years. Actually, the first podcast I did was with Dr. Roto back in 2011, 14 years ago, if you believe me, called Fantasy to Reality, where he'd break down the fantasy aspect and I'd do the X's and O's side of it. So I've been covering the AFC South Forum this year at drroto.com. You can see those articles on MSN, on the Big League, different websites like that as well. And then we always do a post-game show after the Texans game when they play noon or 3 on Sundays. We do it at 9 o'clock at night. If it's a night game, whether it's Monday, Thursday, Saturday, or if it's this Sunday night, we do it right after the game. That's with Robert Land and also my guy Thomas Chavaria. And Jules, you might remember him from our company back in the day as well. And I appreciate you guys having me. Awesome. Enjoyed the conversation. Appreciate all the comments as well.
Oh, absolutely. And Jules, you got any final thoughts before we send out of here?
Go Texans.
Hey, there you go. Go Texans, right? Look, again, thank you so much for being here with us on this Friday. You could be anywhere. You chose us. Thank you so much. We are the H-Town Rundown. Find us actually live streaming on this Sunday night on playback. Check us out, okay? We're going to be advertising that. Yes, thank you, Mr. Braddock. Appreciate you, AD, holding it down. Check us out on playback. Like, share, and subscribe. And we will catch you when we catch you. Go Texans. Let's beat the Chiefs.